After 10 years of bloody warfare, this legendary hero returns home only to be treated like complete trash. His father, the legendary Sword King, is dead, and his family estate has been seized by loud-mouthed thugs. Little do they know, he is the god of slaughter who bathed battlefields in blood, leaving enemies paralyzed. With a body of absolute iron, no blade can pierce his skin. The sharpest swords shatter into worthless scrap. Whether facing demonic cultists or divine monks, crossing this man leads to an instant and one-sided beatdown. Our story begins with Chin-ho, the young lord of the southern border sect, sent to war by his father. 10 long years later, the fires of war finally die out, and Chin-ho returns to reclaim his hometown. But upon his arrival, a devastating truth awaits. His father and brother are dead, and his sect is gone. The place is now run by a greedy old man named Manhwa, who greets the heir with lies. When asked about his father's death, the old man claims illness, but Chin-ho knows his father was invincible. Infuriated by the suspicion, the old man draws his sword, attempting to execute the hero with a basic strike. But Chin-ho catches the cold steel barehanded, crushing the blade into dust before the old man's eyes. As the room falls silent, a horde of goons rushes in, only to see their master being utterly humiliated. They call in 500 reinforcements to surround our hero, hoping to crush him with sheer numbers alone. Despite the sea of blades and aggressive faces, Chin-ho remains unfazed, seeing through their hollow bravado. Among the trash, only one man catches his eye, a white-haired figure lurking in the back like a viper. This mysterious man, Ha-do, remains silent, watching the unfolding chaos with cold, calculating eyes from the shadows. Suddenly, the mob charges. Chin-ho stands like a mountain, his hands weaving a deadly dance of martial arts. With a single powerful palm strike, multiple men are sent flying, their bodies broken in a single heartbeat. Terror grips the survivors as they witness power they've never seen, their confidence shattering in an instant. Before they can blink, Chin-ho flickers like a ghost, reappearing behind them to take them down one by one. Every strike he lands sends another soul to the afterlife, proving his offense is as terrifying as his defense. Swords literally shatter against his skin. It is like he is playing a game with a high-level cheat code. This man is on a completely different level, and the white-haired Ha-do finally decides to step forward. Ha-do claps mockingly, praising Chin-ho's impressive protective aura, but our hero just scoffs at the compliment. Chin-ho reveals a shocking truth. He is not even using his full power yet, or the world would tremble. If he unleashed his true spiritual energy, he would be among the few legendary masters ruling the martial world. After exchanging cold words, Chin-ho demands Ha-do to kneel if he wants to see tomorrow's sunrise. Insulted and enraged, Ha-do taunts him, believing his own speed is enough to kill this arrogant veteran. But before he can even finish his threat, Chin-ho is already standing right behind him, silent as death. A cold sweat breaks out as Ha-do realizes he's facing a monster. He desperately swings his blade. The attack is fast, but Chin-ho dodges with the grace of a falling leaf, mocking the pathetic effort. No matter how hard he tries, Ha-do cannot even graze the hero's robe, let alone draw blood. With a casual movement, Chin-ho turns the expensive sword into worthless metal shards with his bare fingers. He grabs Ha-do by the throat like a stray dog, completely crushing the villain's pride and fighting spirit. Chin-ho orders him to wake the others and gather in the main hall, or face a brutal fate. Seated on the throne like a true king, Chin-ho gazes down at the trembling cowards gathered before him. He demands the truth about his father's disappearance, refusing to accept any more lies about a sudden illness. Shaking with fear, Manhwa bows deeply, claiming he only heard rumors from a local village doctor. Chin-ho's patience wears thin as the old man stutters, his voice trembling under the hero's suffocating pressure. The old man screams in frustration, blaming his stutter on the physical beating he just received from our hero. Chin-ho is not amused. He warns the old man that his next move might silence him permanently. Raising a fist that radiates pure destruction, he forces the old man to choose his next words carefully. Terrified, the old man promises to speak only the truth, while Chen-ho considers the mysterious pharmacist's role. Down at the bustling market, a hauntingly beautiful melody drifts through the air as dark clouds begin to gather. 10 years of blossoms have passed, yet none match her grace. Now she lives only in my memories. The hero gazes upward. I will never forget you. He arrives at a familiar gate. Within, a mother asks her child of hidden meanings. Mother, a wolf is at the door. A voice echoes outside. It has been far too long. Soha freezes in shock. Why the surprise? As if a dead man has returned. She embraces him, weeping for the fool she thought lost. He sees the child. Are you married? She is beautiful. The father doesn't even know she exists. I left at dawn. Awkward silence falls between former lovers. Let us have tea. She speaks of the elder, who collapsed when news arrived. Did my father weep that much? She nods, exhausted by grief. A tragic mistake that should never have happened, she sighs. He watches the child play with his wolf, those eyes. She is Jong-gun's daughter, Soha confesses at last. Everything has changed. Keep this a secret, she warns him. I won't let her be branded an orphan by this world. An orphan? You mean because of what Jong-gun became? Yes, since the elder passed, he lost himself in scandals. Did guilt drive him to this? He was once honorable. Tell me, the hero asks, who rules the Mad Blade Academy? They are filth, thugs who extort the weak for gold. His gaze turns icy. They target the innocent people too. Yes, why do you look like that? He turns away. I cannot forgive those who prey on the common folk. Did they harm you? She admits to paying them off. Rage flares. He moves toward the door like a predator. Stop, my daughter is here. Do not create a bloodbath. He smirks. A joke. I am done with taking lives. Do you truly think me a monster? She asks his count. More than the souls in this entire village, he replies. She is speechless. How can you still stand after that? I had to live. I have a wife waiting for me. A Mongolian woman who saved me and gave me kindness. But she is gone now, a bittersweet truth for his past. Sorrow clouds his face as the shadows of night fall. Sleep in the room, she says, not the cold warehouse. I'm afraid I might lose control, he warns with a grin. Midnight, a thief creeps toward the warehouse, blade in hand. Open that door, and I will slit your belly open. The intruder freezes. I am in a good mood today. Run before I count to 3. 1, 2, 3. He lunges with lethal precision. You are worth nothing. Tron-ho, what are you doing out here so late? What are you doing? Tron-ho deflected. It is nothing, he lied, casually hiding a pool of blood with his foot. Confused, he asked, why are you out so late? So-hei stared at his muscular frame, her face turning crimson. Heat surged between them. Their hearts raced as they surrendered to a night of burning passion. The air grew heavy. Their connection sparked into a wildfire. As dawn broke over the mountains, sunlight heralded a new day. A new morning arrived. After their intimate night, Tron-ho held the beauty close. So-hei spoke softly. We are now an inseparable forbidden pair, she whispered. Tron-ho smiled gently. That is not true. You have no husband, and I have no wife. So-hei felt the guilt of betrayal, but he countered immediately. My late wife wished for me to find many wives after her passing. Hearing this, she was stunned. Does your land allow polygamy? She asked. He explained it depended on rank and tribal customs. My late wife's tribe follows ancient traditions. Hearing this, So-hei finally felt a sense of relief. If I lived there, I wouldn't feel so ashamed. So Chan drew closer, wishing she would stay with him. He didn't want her returning to a tribe where women were treated like property. I think Yongyu is better for you, So-hei sighed. A woman's fate is the same everywhere. So Chan took her hand. Not for a martial artist. If you wish, I will teach you the way of the sword. She sat up, clutching the blanket. It is too late for me to learn. So Chan watched her slender silhouette. He chuckled. I only want you to be healthy. But So-hei shook her head. It is far too late. Suddenly, So-chan felt a chilling presence. He frowned. What is going on? Then a sudden voice rang out. They both jumped in shock. Mother! So-hei frantically shoved him under the covers. Hide, quickly. The little girl walked in. She saw them bare-skinned. So-chan was awkwardly hugging a dog under the blanket. The child stared in confusion. Mother, why aren't you and that mister wearing any clothes? Their faces turned bright red. We're just best friends, they shouted together. The girl giggled and jumped into their arms. I'm best friends with Mother too. So-chan was speechless at the chaotic situation. He sighed and rubbed his head. Watching So-hei laugh with the child, the room filled with warmth. A gentle smile touched his lips. Like this, we truly look like a family, he thought. Suddenly, So-hei looked at him. If destiny hadn't been so twisted, she would have been your child. So-chan fell silent. He stood up and prepared to leave. Where are you going? She asked. I have business to settle. So-hei worried she had upset him. Are you angry with what I said? He gave her a reassuring smile. I will be back soon. Then the legendary hero stepped out with purpose. The Mad Blade Institute must be furious after yesterday's chaos, but he wouldn't let them bully the weak. He refused to let these thugs run wild, to stop their tyranny once and for all. I will bury you all. Come out! Suddenly, two rival factions charged onto the scene with weapons drawn. A brutal skirmish erupted, ignoring So-chan's presence. Stop them! The Mad Blade disciples roared. But the men in yellow only sneered. This territory belongs to the Iron Fist cult now. So-chan watched the bloodbath in disbelief. What the hell is this mess? Suddenly, a man was sent flying. He crashed into the dirt, groaning in agony. So-chan recognized him immediately. It was the fool who attacked him before. Big brother, you finally come, Chin-hon cried out with hope. So-chan was baffled. Why are you happy to see me? What, you didn't come to save us? The man wailed. Save you, I'm here to finish you off. Chin-hon turned pale. Wait, why? You sent an assassin to my home. Chin-hon's jaw dropped in genuine confusion. An assassin? We aren't that suicidal. We know how terrifyingly strong you are. So-chan realized he had the wrong guys. It wasn't you. Suddenly, a cold voice interrupted. You bastard! The Iron Fist thugs stepped forward, eyes brimming with murderous intent. Are you with these losers? They barked, pointing a finger. State your business with this haul. Unfazed, So-chan replied coldly, I have no connection. The thug felt mocked and grew aggressive. So-chan sighed. Kill whoever you want, I'm busy, now beat it. He waved them off like flies. The fool tried to drive him away. Insulted, the thug lunged with a lethal blade, but So-chan's reflexes were inhuman. He stepped back, dodging the arrogant bastard easily. Despite the relentless barrage of strikes, not a single hair was touched. For So-chan, it was child's play as he danced through the chaos. Who was this amateur swinging a sword so blindly? Unaware he was facing a legendary monster, the thug laughed. Not bad, he sneered, before shifting his stance for the kill. Suddenly, the air turned cold as So-chan's patience snapped. Clenching his fist, he whispered, I truly don't know why. You seek death so eagerly. With one punch, the timber shattered into splinters. The thug's jaw dropped in sheer terror. He's a monster, a mere fist did that. Realizing the gap, the coward turned to flee. But escaping a predator is impossible. With one step, So-chan pinned him down. The ground shook, leaving the man paralyzed, like a vengeful god returning. You think you can just leave? So-chan growled. Without mercy, he grabbed the fool's head, his intent chillingly clear. One swift twist, and he sent him straight to hell. This palace is trash, but you're even more pathetic. The Iron Rain disciples watched the gruesome end, paralyzed. A wave of pure, primal fear washed over the entire crowd. They instinctively backed away. So-chan tilted his head, frowning. Why were these flies suddenly so terrified of him? He noticed their leader staring at the wreckage behind. Wait, that umbrella he just crushed, it had a specific mark. A tiger pattern. I might have overdone it, So-chan mused, pointing at the corpse. Was he someone important? Your leader, the disciples nodded, trembling. Meanwhile, Chenhon watched, eyes gleaming as if he'd found a messiah. He rushed forward, clinging to So-tran. Big brother, I knew you'd save us. You're the savior of this palace. So-tran cursed inwardly. What a mess! Meanwhile, 𝒕𝒊𝒆𝒔 sat in the infirmary, covered in bandages and shame. That strike was legendary, brother. You saved our lives. So-tran sighed, looking utterly drained by the boy's worship. It wasn't a strike, it was a massage, So-tran deadpanned. 𝒕𝒊𝒆𝒔 bristled, ready to snap at the arrogance. You wanna die, 𝒕𝒊𝒆𝒔 growled, but So-tran cut him off. Enough nonsense. Lives are at stake, answer me. Did you send men to the pharmacy? He demanded. But the response was genuine confusion. They knew nothing of it. The pharmacy? Why would I go there? So-tran pressed on. To avenge your defeat from yesterday, perhaps. The Crazy Blade members shrieked in denial, their bodies shaking. They were too terrified to even think of revenge. We know nothing. Our leader doesn't even use medicine. Observing their pathetic faces, So-tran realized they weren't lying. If not them, then who? He turned his cold gaze toward the Iron Rain disciples, who were already sweating bullets. Scarred by his earlier display of violence, they stuttered, We don't know either, big brother. So-tran frowned deeply. I don't like your tone, he muttered, sending a fresh wave of terror through them. He stared them down in silence. Finally he spoke. You, Chenhon, isn't it? Hearing his name, the boy snapped to attention like a soldier. Yes, sir. So-tran ordered him to gather the critically ill patients. Chenhon blinked, clearly confused by the request. The sick? Chenhon didn't dare ask why. Without another word, he scrambled to follow the command immediately. Understood. A few moments later, Chenhon returned with his men, looking pale as he entered the room. Reporting, there are no sick people here, just one guy with a stomach ache. So-tran's eyes narrowed instantly. This meant a third party was involved, someone far more cunning than these brainless thugs. A hidden enemy was lurking. A snake in the grass was targeting him. He could handle the danger, but a shadow enemy is always deadliest. I won't let them hurt my family, he vowed, but fate is a cruel mistress and plans often shatter. Arriving home, he found So-ha-yi collapsed on the floor. His heart stopped. Ha-yi, he screamed, rushing over. He pulled her into his arms. Her eyes slowly fluttered open. Who did this? He roared, his rage exploding. She looked away, whispering, Don't worry, I just felt a bit dizzy. But the fear in his chest didn't fade. Seeing her lifeless on the ground had terrified him. He gripped her hand tightly. How can I not worry? Then the truth hit him. She was starving herself to lose weight. You foolish girl, you need proper medicine. I'll give you gold, he promised. Ha-yi smiled beautifully. And where exactly will you find such wealth, hero? I have my ways, he smirked. If I reclaim the Nam-gung assets, we'll have more gold than we can spend. Those assets still exist, she gasped. He stroked his chin. Legally, it's possible, a bit troublesome but worth the effort. It would be a headache to deal with the courts, but Ha-yi leaned in, her eyes sparkling. Let's find it. Seeing her excitement, So-tran grew curious. Is there something you need money for? She just giggled playfully. Cash is still king. The next morning, So-cho arrives at the gates of the prestigious Beak clan. Once the pride of the martial world, how many parasites are leeching off this once great name today? Inside, the three elders await. Their leader sneers, Welcome to the Beak clan. I'm the great master. Beak in gun stares him down. So-cho remains calm. I am So-cho, son of the heavenly king. He unfurls an ancient scroll. As the rightful owner of this land, I've come to reclaim my property. The old man bellows with laughter. And if I refuse, what can a brat like you possibly do? So-cho's gaze turns icy. Then I'll sell this land to your rivals and watch them tear you apart. Good luck defending this place against an entire sect. I won't need to lift a single finger then. In Gun's smile hides a poisonous viper. He sneers. Do you really think you can win this game, boy? I have friends in high places. So-cho remains unfazed. Unless your backer is the emperor, you're finished. He reveals a document stamped in crimson. a discharge paper from the legendary Grand General 𝒂𝒒𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅. The room goes cold. This man is protected by a power second only to the emperor himself. The realization hits the elders like a thunderbolt, so Cho slides the paper forward. It is time to choose. Give me the gold or face total annihilation. Defeated, 𝒂 is forced to pay the king's ransom. So Cho walks out with the spoils. Pleasure doing business. Let's hope our paths never cross again. Suddenly, a chill runs down his spine. Bloodlust fills the air. 𝒂 asks, "What's the matter, boy?" "Did you think I couldn't feel the killers surrounding me?" 𝒂's face twists into a demonic grin. "Since I have the land deeds, you're no longer needed alive." So Cho calmly draws his daggers. 3 blades fly. One grazes 𝒂 as So Cho scoffs. Amateurs always forget the power of surprise. 𝒂 collapses in terror. Behind him, his 2 best assassins are already dead. So Cho's aura explodes. "If you want to kill someone, do it in a heartbeat." The old man roars, hands morphing into claws. His fingers stretch like monstrous talons. But before he can strike, So Cho's blade blinds him instantly. Agony, the disciples rush in, swords drawn. So Cho laughs. "Your master is blind and you're slow." "Wait, I recognize that face. You're the rat who dared to crawl into my chambers, aren't you?" The disciple trembles as he remembers the monster from that night. "It was you. You're the intruder." His voice shakes with fear. I didn't mean to offend you." So Cho's expression turns deathly cold. "Didn't mean to." The air grows heavy. This wasn't about him, it was about the family they threatened. The fool tries to bargain, ordering So Cho to release the master. So Cho's eyes flare with rage. "You dared to torment that mother and her child. For that, there is no mercy left for you." The other disciples turn pale. The bloodlust radiating from So Cho is thick enough to choke them all. "I'll deal with your master later. For now, let's see how long you can last against a monster." Blades clash. The disciples charge like lambs to the slaughter, but their steel cannot even touch him. So Cho dances through the crowd. With every step, another life is snuffed out by his edge. One by one, they fall into the abyss. They never realized they had awakened a dragon of war. The flies have been cleared. So Cho grabs the last survivor, his eyes burning with ancient fury. The man whimpers. "I'm going to strip away the curse rotting your soul," So Cho whispers darkly. "The wolf seal. No doctor can save you. When it triggers, your life will end in agony." The man glares back, desperate. "I was just following orders. The master wanted the woman and child." Why would 𝒂 target so high? Suddenly, the man lunges forward with his blade in desperation. "It's all your fault," he screams, So Cho sighs. "Don't force it, stress feeds the beast inside." The more power you use, the tighter that wolf seal grips. But the man has lost his mind. "Shut up and die," he shrieks. Twisted, dark horns begin to sprout from his back like a demon. So Cho watches, seeing a reflection of his own dark past in those crazed, bloodshot eyes. He catches the blade with his bare palm and flings him aside. This wasn't a fight anymore. Those eyes, they burn with the same revenge I once sought. It was time to end this. Even if I shatter your most precious blade today, it seems silence is the only answer you offer. Fine then. To secure my future peace, I shall erase every trace of this threat myself. With the mess cleared, our hero heads home, stopping to meet the merchant Ban Ho Rome. Ban froze in disbelief. "You want me to seize the entire heavenly white estate, but why, my lord?" "Those scum dared to hide assets on my territory. It is time they remember who truly rules these lands. While you're at it, gather proof of their crimes against the innocent. Show them no mercy." The merchant barked back in defiance. "Why should I risk my neck for your whims? Why follow your orders?" One cold glare was enough to stop his breath. "You live under my protection, yet you refuse a simple task." Terrified by that monstrous aura, Ban grabbed his pen. "Fine, I will handle it neatly." Satisfied, our hero turned to leave. "I am counting on you, do not disappoint me." As he walked away, the villain's final words echoed like a dark curse within his mind. The enemy claimed they were merely following orders to hunt down a defenseless mother and her child. Why is the heavenly white family targeting them? I must bide my time until the evidence finally surfaces. Keep a sharp eye out. Report even the slightest whisper of trouble to me instantly. Returning home, his heart grew heavy. If only Hei knew how to defend herself, he wouldn't worry. Hei gasped, her eyes widening at his blood-soaked clothes. What in heaven's name happened to you? She scolded him while checking for wounds. Have you no shame, appearing before a girl like a battlefield monster? Our hero sighed. Hey, if you walked the path of a warrior, you would be truly free. He took her hand, his voice softening. What if I taught you? I could make you the strongest. She turned away, blushing furiously. What nonsense are you spouting now? She playfully rained blows upon him. He let out a soft laugh, but deep down, he only wished for her everlasting happiness. Night fell over the city like a velvet shroud, as stars danced across the silent sky. Amidst the sweet, romantic tension, Hei finally broke the silence with a heavy, frustrated sigh. Her heart raced so fast her nose began to bleed. Our hero jumped back in total shock. Panicking, he checked her pulse. Are you all right? Stay with me, let me see your face. Finding no harm, he pulled her into a warm embrace. Thank heavens, you truly scared me, Hei. She whispered that she was just exhausted, but a seed of doubt remained in his heart. At dawn, he rushed to the kitchen, brewing a potent herbal soup to restore her lost vitality. The taste was questionable. Suddenly, Chi-Hon burst in, screaming in a panicked frenzy. Master, something terrible has happened. Our hero paused, sensing the sudden shift in the air. Chi-Hon gasped for air. The director! He found something that shouldn't exist in this world. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees as our hero gazed toward the horizon, sensing a storm. A flock of messenger birds descended from the clouds, carrying a secret that would shake the kingdom. He hurried inside to meet Ban Ho-Rome, knowing the real battle was about to begin. Ban's face was pale with dread. My lord, you need to see this. Follow me. Hidden within the White family's seized treasures lay a mysterious, ancient wooden box. Our hero's eyes narrowed as he recognized the crest. This symbol, it belongs to the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅. The legends spoke of two powers ruling the mountains, the Tang clan and the divine 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒄. If the Tang clan are vicious wolves, then the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒄 are great bears deep in slumber. One should never wake a sleeping bear. Does this mean the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒄 are more dangerous than Tang? Ban trembled with fear. My lord, I fear we have provoked the wrath of the heavens. Are you mad? Ban shrieked as our hero reached for the forbidden 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒄 seal. With a flick of his wrist, the seal shattered. We must know their connection to these villains. He unfurled the ancient parchment. It was a personal letter addressed to the villain Inun himself. Inun, I hear your martial arts have reached a standstill. The revelation changed everything. As your mentor, my disappointment knows no bounds, despite your failure to become a true disciple. A master's heart does not waver so easily. This humble monk feels a profound, biting sorrow today. A humble monk? You mean that corrupt monk? So-chan nodded, confirming he had slain the man's disciple. His intuition was right. Ban Ho-Zam felt trapped, forced into a dangerous alliance as his body trembled. Suppressing his rising fury, he realized he'd helped plunder that disciple's treasures. So-chan avoided his piercing gaze. What of it? So-chan replied. Ban Ho-Zam erupted, screaming about the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒄's sect's most infamous master. The 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒄 sect follows the Buddha's path, yet this sinner is a demon denied the chance of rebirth. While others might survive with severed limbs, this monster grants no such mercy to his wretched victims. That corrupt monk is different. In just 8 excursions, she has slaughtered hundreds within the martial world. She knows no mercy. So-chan tried to soothe the old man's panic, urging him to remain calm. He snapped, Calm down. You've provoked the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒄 sect, a clan with hundreds of deadly warriors. You angered the corrupt monk herself. We are all dead men walking. Meanwhile, Ha-Du lurked behind the door. Attempting to flee, he whispered his thanks, but was instantly seized. Don't even think about running away. I will handle this, So-chan stated firmly. But Manhwa lamented that only chaos followed So-chan's arrival. Seeking Chin-hon, So-chan arrived to find him beaming. "Senior brother, I've just prepared a delicious soup." "Thank you, but we must talk," So-chan interrupted. "I have urgent matters that require our immediate attention." Chin-hon's face drained of color, mirroring Manhwa's terror. The corrupt monk of the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 sect." As So-chan confirmed the news, Chin-hon bowed low. "Thank you for the warning, brother. I'm leaving." So-chan's eyes flared with a terrifying light. "You fear 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊, yet you do not fear me, you rascal." Terrified, Chin-hon stammered, "I will do anything, just say the word." So-chan then produced a mysterious letter. "Deliver this, and I shall bestow upon you legendary martial arts." Chin-hon's eyes sparkled. "Real martial arts." "Keep this stone safe at all costs," So-chan warned. Chin-hon felt as though he held a live explosive. "A single mistake, and this entire region will be reduced to ash," So-chan added with chilling indifference. Paralyzed by shock, he had no choice but to obey. I'm off then, senior brother," he stammered. So-chan waved him off toward the Tang clan of Sichuan. Meanwhile, a deadly silence hung over the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊 sect. As the corrupt monk meditated in the shadows, a sudden, chilling breeze sliced through the heavy, stagnant air. "Have you come to mock me, disciple?" the corrupt monk hissed, her murderous intent vibrating through the silence. "Master, grave news from the Beak clan," the monk replied. "Beacon Gun and his kin have all been slaughtered. Even his son is dead." Fury erupted within the corrupt monk as she crushed a stone in her fist. "I was not involved," the disciple assured. "Reports claim a mysterious youth is behind this bloodbath. He is linked to the Mad Blade Institute, a peerless master hired to deal a devastating blow to our interests." Her rage exploded. A shockwave of energy shattered the surrounding earth, yet the messenger remained eerily calm. Smiling amidst the destruction, he watched the monk descend into a state of pure, unadulterated madness. "Will you stop her?" she demanded. The nun countered, "If I try, she will surely strike me down first." "She wouldn't dare," he barked, but they both knew her vengeance would not cease until blood soaked the earth. "Her thirst for blood is insatiable," the nun sighed, pointing toward the horizon. "Then go, seek your vengeance now. But on one condition. If you encounter a master who eclipses your power, you must abandon this pursuit." "You think someone stronger exists after what happened at the Mad Blade Institute?" he scoffed with arrogant disbelief. With a chilling expression, the nun whispered, "The martial world is vast, hiding monsters beyond your wildest imagination. Countless hidden masters lurk in the shadows." Brimming with pride, she departed, swearing an oath upon her honor. "I swear as a corrupt monk." After her departure, the nun let out a long sigh as a shadow emerged. A man appearing as gentle as a scholar, fan in hand like a grand strategist, stepped from the darkness. "Why such a heavy sigh? She is blunt, yet you sent her into a storm without any intelligence." "We can only pray for her safe return now." The nun's face turned ice cold as she addressed the intruder. "You talk too much," she snapped. The strategist instantly fell silent, his face pale with sudden, overwhelming terror. Her aura exploded, reaching for the heavens. She warned him not to interfere with 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊 business. Her disciples were innocent of the corrupt association's crimes. With a cold glare, she vanished. "Scary old hags everywhere," he muttered. Meanwhile, our hero was back at the shop with the manager. Wood shattered under his fists. "Did you really call for reinforcements from the Tang clan?" the manager asked. "I have some history with them," he admitted. Another log exploded. "Jian Hwan should be here soon." He turned the question back. "And you, where did you send your letters?" the old man stammered. "To somewhere reliable," he whispered. "When will they arrive?" The manager's patience was wearing thin. 10 days at best, maybe 30. He looked at the hero. "And yours?" A heavy silence fell. He sighed. 4 days, 5 at most." The manager finally relaxed, his face softening with relief. 5 days from Mount Ngami. That's a gamble. Even if help fails, you can win, right?" "Of course," he started, but his fist delivered a devastating blow. The impact sounded like a bomb. The entire tree disintegrated into splinters. The manager trembled in fear. This power was beyond human. "I can't beat her," he admitted. "𝒏's strength is absolute. I hope the reinforcements move fast." The manager collapsed in despair, wailing at the heavens. 4 days passed in a heartbeat. Our hero sat in the main hall, a mountain of calm. Suddenly, the air turned freezing cold. The doors burst open. "Damn it," he cursed. The terrifying 𝒏 elder stepped into the room. Her murderous intent was suffocating. The manager's voice shook. "Is the help here yet?" Her face was a mask of pure malice. He stood his ground. "Let's talk inside. I'll explain." "No need," she snapped. Her eyes locked onto him. The judgment had already been passed. "You've harmed my kin," she growled. Since the manager was weak, the blame fell on him. "I did," he said, eyes narrowing, "but there's more to it." Before he could finish, she vanished. A blur of speed. He dodged, but the wind grazes him. The wall behind him shattered instantly. A massive crater appeared. The manager gasped. This wasn't a fight, it was a total slaughter. "I'll hear your story. After I sever your limbs." Her bloodlust reached a terrifying peak. Razor-sharp claws extended from her hands. His hand gripped his hilt. The dragon was finally awakening. "Can't we just talk first?" he asked calmly. She didn't answer. She only saw her prey. She lunged from above like a predator. He raised his blade, the impact echoing through the hall. His sword groaned under the pressure, a crack appearing. He was barely holding back her divine strength. A flurry of strikes followed. He danced on the edge of death, blocking every devastating blow. "Why aren't you attacking?" the manager screamed. He was struggling just to survive the onslaught. "I'm a bit busy here," he grunted. A sudden surge of power knocked him backward. He landed perfectly, eyes fixed on his foe. She paused, her eyes narrowing in pure confusion. "You should be dead." How could a mere second-rate warrior withstand her legendary 𝒏 techniques? She prepared her ultimate move. Panic flickered in his eyes. Where the hell are those reinforcements? Miles away, a figure was sprinting like a demon. 4 days ago, the messenger reached the gate. The royal estate stood in haunting silence. "Is anyone there?" he shouted into the emptiness. The doors creaked open. "Who dares disturb the imperial peace?" A voice thundered from the dark. The messenger shivered, staring into the void. He held out a token, his hands trembling. "A message and this dagger, for the master." The shadows stirred as the items were taken. "How did you get this?" the voice demanded. The messenger's heart nearly stopped from the pressure. "I'm just the delivery boy," he cried. "I know nothing, please have mercy on me." After a tense silence, the items vanished. The messenger breathed a sigh of relief, then screamed. An invisible force slammed into him, sending him flying. He stared in shock at the ground. A dagger was embedded before him. He shrieked in pain as the mysterious power took hold. "This is for those we don't trust," the voice whispered. The messenger's life hung by a thread. The villains had poisoned the messenger themselves. He gasped in horror as a voice sneered from behind the gate. Without the antidote, his legs would rot within hours. He was a dead man walking with no time left. "Run if you wish," they mocked. "You'll die anyway." With a heavy thud, the massive gates began to close. The messenger screamed curses at the heartless bastards, but his strength was already beginning to fail him. Foaming at the mouth, he felt the venom coursing through his veins. He collapsed as shadows emerged from the gate. Dark-clothed figures stepped out while the matron mocked our hero. Finally, the legendary warrior broke his silence. "A second-rate amateur," the shopkeeper scoffed. She was a peak expert, mere steps away from reaching the first-rate rank. Suddenly, she sensed a chilling anomaly. If this man had slaughtered a whole clan, her calculations were dangerously wrong. But her arrogance blinded her. It didn't matter who he was, she intended to tear him into 100 pieces. With a bloodthirsty roar, she unleashed her tiger claw technique. Our hero tightened his grip on his ancient blade. "Damn it," he sighed. "So it finally comes to this." The matron lunged forward with the speed of a predator. Her claws became a lethal blur, striking faster than the eye could follow. She unleashed a storm of vicious attacks. He barely evaded the onslaught, but her fury only intensified. The air hissed with each near-fatal, jagged strike. After 100 desperate parries, his stamina wavered. A sharp claw finally drew blood across his weary face. His scabbard began to crack under the pressure. Sensing an opening, she prepared her most devastating ultimate move. The impact was cataclysmic. His sword snapped into fragments, and he coughed up a spray of crimson blood. The earth disintegrated beneath them, shaking the entire manor. Dust and debris filled the air in a suffocating cloud. As the dust settled, revealing the ruined walls, the matron's expression twisted into one of pure, unadulterated horror. "How are you still alive?" she shrieked. He leaned against the rubble, blood dripping slowly from his mouth. She cursed his dark sorcery as he slowly stood up, casting aside the broken remains of his useless weapon. "I was a fool," he muttered, "to think I could reason with a delusional martial artist like you." The time for talk was over. As his broken blade hit the dirt, a hidden engraving caught her eye. That pattern, it was the sacred mark of the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 sect. Her mind raced with a sudden, terrifying realization. "Lady Hurin swore an oath on this blade," he revealed, "the day we saved Tang Manryan together. He had promised to forgive her sect once. That one chance, he declared, has officially reached its end." Hurin, the name haunted her, a child rumored to have been dragged away and killed in distant Mongolia. "Blood must be paid with blood," she barked, reclaiming her malice. "Your life ends here, no matter who you are." He stepped forward, his aura shifting. He had endured her strikes only out of respect for a sacred memory. "My debt to Hurin is paid," he warned. "Leave this place now, or I will no longer show mercy." He drew his true blade. Feeling insulted by his warning, she screamed in a fit of prideful, blinding rage. "Arrogant brat," she bellowed, activating her phantom shift technique to strike from every single angle at once. The tide had turned. No longer retreating, he stood like an immovable mountain, tracking her every illusory move. A dozen afterimages blurred his vision. To anyone else, the real killer was invisible among the dancing ghosts. "If I can't find you, I'll just destroy everything." He swung, his strike shattering the illusions with a blast. A massive explosion of internal energy erupted. Even the bystanders were forced to shield themselves from the shockwave. She thought he had perished in the blast, but a hand suddenly emerged from the smoke, seizing her wrist. It was him. A cold, terrifying smile played on his lips. "Got you," he whispered, his grip like iron. "You dare," she shrieked, unleashing her full power to blast him away. Their auras collided with devastating force. A shockwave rippled through the air as they both skidded back. She was shaken to her core by his strength. Impossible. She couldn't believe his power. Desperate, she split into 3 forms for one final, lethal assault. "What trickery is this?" she screamed. But her speed was nothing before his refined, lethal battlefield instincts. He caught her leg midair with ease. "This isn't a trick," he countered. "This is the art of war." A sickening crack echoed as he snapped her limb. He hoisted her high like a god of war incarnate. Gripping her head, he prepared to end her life by smashing her skull into the cold stone floor. At the final second, he stopped. "You've lost," he said coldly, tossing her aside like a broken doll. "The battle is over," he declared coldly. "I have but one question for you. Answer me truly. Why did Bae Iyun kidnap the village doctor and her daughter?" The old woman gasped in pure shock. "A mere commoner," she sneered. The hero's eyes remained sharp, his presence overwhelming and heavy. "Yes," he replied firmly. She couldn't believe her ears. Iyun would never commit such a disgraceful act. "I taught him honor," she hissed. Even if his martial arts were incomplete, he knew right from wrong. "Do not defile the dead by linking him to such wickedness. Watch your tongue, boy." Rage flared as he grabbed her collar. "Do you think I'm playing games?" This came from his mouth. "Lies," she cried out, her heart shattering. "He was a good child. I raised him better than that." Tears finally spilled from her eyes. The hero froze, sensing a grief that felt far too personal. "Is he?" Your own flesh and blood. Silence hung heavy between them, confirming his grim suspicion. Believe what you want, he sighed, but he targeted an innocent who was under my protection. She shoved him away, trembling with fury. You are weaving a web of deceit to save your skin. I will watch you. If I find a single lie, I will tear you limb from limb. She vanished through the shattered roof. Great, he muttered. I have created a truly terrifying enemy. My instincts say our paths will cross again. Meanwhile, the marketplace was buzzing with absolute terror. Did you hear? A divine pillar of light leveled the mad cult academy. It was total destruction. Only the headmaster fell, but the rest vanished. Dark times are coming for us common folks. Hearing the chaos, Sohai's heart sank. She prayed desperately for her hero to return home safely. I will settle everything, he had promised her. Through negotiation, I will find a peaceful way out. She had looked at him with lingering doubt. Just promise me one thing. Please stay alive, Jeonho. He pulled her into a warm embrace. Of course, I plan on growing old by your side. What if we just ran away, to a place far from this blood-soaked world of martial arts? She laughed, thinking it a joke, but behind his calm smile, the hero was completely serious. A simple life of farming and peace, far from the Murim's reach. It was a beautiful dream. I will return, he vowed. Now Sohai felt a chilling dread and knew she must find him. Despite her failing health, she moved. Back at the ruins, the hero surveyed the devastating aftermath. Old man, are you still among the living? Suddenly, the elder bowed his head in deep respect. I failed to recognize a true monster among men, he whispered. The hero simply scratched his head. Forget it, it was just a deal. The elder sighed, his pride as a master thoroughly shattered. The hero pondered. I thought the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 sect would be reasonable, who knew they were related. No matter, it is time to go home. But destiny had already prepared a new trap. A sniper's scope locked onto him from a distant rooftop. A single shot echoed through the night. Suddenly, the scene shifts. The hero sits before a lavish feast within the deadly Tang clan. Is all this for me? Masked figures surrounded him, their killing intent hidden behind professional masks. Drink the antidote, they commanded. He hesitated, wondering why they would poison him only to offer a cure. We cannot trust a man carrying our sect's forbidden secret technique, the flower dance. How does a commoner possess a technique meant only for the heavens? You are highly suspicious. He dropped his food in shock. You mean, my secret art is written in your scriptures? If that is true, then things are complicated. The tension in the room turned ice cold. Eat, she urged. You will be treated as an honored guest until we uncover your true identity. She placed the meat before him. The antidote takes 10 days to fully circulate through your blood. And if it fails, he asked. She smiled thinly. Then your journey ends right here, guest. The hero laughed nervously. 10 days of luxury. I suppose I could die happy after this feast. Enjoy it while you can, she hissed. Our investigators will soon reveal the truth of your past. Once the symptoms appear, your fate will be sealed. The hero's true battle was just beginning. Just as the guard's arrow sought his life, he caught it with godlike reflexes. He gripped the bow and... Was it the Tang clan? Their secret scriptures must be guarded at all costs. Curse them. They're spying on me. No wonder help never came. He crushed the letter, his eyes blazing with fury. I'll have to remain in the shadows for now. Ben-Hozam asked in shock, why stay here? The Tang clan is suspicious. I can't move until their investigation concludes. He thought of Sohai. I might be late returning. But at that moment, Sohai lay collapsed in a pool of blood. A shadow loomed over her. The 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 senior sister asked coldly, so you've finally returned. They claim Gun tried to kidnap a mother and child. If he truly sinned, our 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 sect must beg forgiveness. The sister replied calmly, you wish to kill him, don't you? But as an 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 disciple, stay your hand. Until the council decides, your bloodlust is forbidden. This impulsiveness is exactly why you haven't reached the peak. Despite your mastery, your heart is still chained to the mortal world. You cannot let go of your obsession. Forgive that man. Only then will a new path of power open before your eyes. Danri confessed, Gun was the only gift in my miserable life. Without him, I am nothing. I've made my choice. Please expel me from the sect. The sister shook her head in disgust. Such arrogance. I should have reported your sins to the master long ago. Now, as 𝒏𝒆 leader, listen. You consorted with a lowly outsider and even bore his child. You have betrayed our ancient lineage. You stole the master's treasures and abandoned your loyalty. Most unforgivable of all, you stained our honor for revenge. To preserve our name, I hereby cast you out forever. Danri looked up, her gaze full of defiance. I, Danri, hereby renounce my title as an honorary nun of 𝒏𝒆. The leader turned away coldly. Begone, you are no longer one of us. From this day forth, you walk this path alone. Consider yourself lucky I didn't sever your arm. You are forbidden from using our martial arts ever again. I'll grant you a moment of mercy. After that, you must sever your own hand to pay for your sins. Danri called out in despair, but suddenly, a mysterious figure, 𝒌𝒏𝒁, stepped from the shadows. The leader's words are quite harsh, aren't they? Danri gasped, Who are you? I am but a low-ranking member of the Destroyer King Union. I'm here because of an anonymous request. An anonymous request? Yes, I desperately need help. Meanwhile, back with Jeonho and Banho Zom. Banho groaned, Oh, what a disaster. If we stay here any longer, we'll become too close for comfort. Jeonho ignored him. When are your reinforcements arriving? Banho Zom let out a heavy, weary sigh. Though I lead this sect, I'm just a disposable tool for the god of war. They've abandoned me. Jeonho's eyes narrowed. The god of war. Is it the same monster I once knew? Are you a pawn of the heaven-breaking sword king, Mangyonguk? Banho Zom smirked with pride. Without his grace, a weakling like me could never have become a sect leader. Jeonho scoffed. Isn't it better to be a nobody than a leader ruling on borrowed power and stolen dignity? Banho smiled happily. I'd rather live one day with gold than a lifetime as a starving wanderer. Typical martial world greed. Jeonho wondered, is So Hye all right? Her nosebleed haunted his thoughts. She looked so exhausted. He fell into a deep silence, but quickly shook off the worry. Let's get a drink. Suddenly, a thunderous crash echoed from the entrance. Jeonho turned sharply. What now? A piercing cry rang out. It was little Hyeon, her face drenched in tears. Mother, she collapsed. There's so much blood. Jeonho didn't hesitate. He grabbed the child and ran. An arrow whistled through the air. He deflected it instantly. The Tang clan again? No, this is different. He dodged a barrage of projectiles. To fire near a child. You absolute monster. Rage exploded within him. Show yourself. The hidden archer lurked in the brush, watching as Jeonho fled with the girl. A strange man blocked their path. Who are you? Hyeon wailed as a spear lunged toward them. Jeonho moved like lightning, protecting the girl while evading the deadly steel. This man has no honor. He swings his spear without a second thought for the child. Jeonho prepared to strike back. Spears and arrows rain down. Jeonho decides to clear the projectiles first. Biding his time for a counterattack, he shatters the arrows with his bare fists. Neither side gives an inch. Now! Jeonho roars, unleashing hidden throwing daggers. The stranger grunts as steel bites. Unfazed, he lunges back into the chaotic fray. Die! The enemy screams, charging. The air turns heavy as they clash violently. Damn it! Jeonho curses, dodging. Protecting the girl prevents him from using his strength. He turns to the child. Hyeon, don't be afraid. The girl stops crying, nodding. The enemy sneers, abandoning hope already. Jeonho ignores him, tossing Hyeon aside. What? The man shrieks in disbelief. He watches as the girl is launched high. You bastard, using cheap tricks. Jeonho closes the gap, snapping the enemy's spear. A rage-filled punch caves his chest. He coughs blood, collapsing as Jeonho glares. These pests never stop, he growls. Turning, he recognizes the figure. So it is you. Facing the hostile crowd, he shouts, You want to kill me? He holds the child. I must save a patient first. Interfere, and you will face my absolute wrath. Step aside, and I will meet you later. The leader laughs with pure disdain. And if I refuse, he mocks. Chun-ho replies coldly, at least let the girl go. She is an innocent civilian. The man smiles cruelly. Is she your weakness then? Seeing his madness, Chun-ho scoffs. An 𝑬𝒏 disciple with no honor, truly pathetic. I was expelled long ago. Do not call me that. I am Fa Thien Danri. Chun-ho wastes no more words. Fine, he says coldly, extending one arm forward. I will let you take my hand. Danri narrows his eyes. What use is that? Chun-ho shouts, then a leg too. I will even lick your boots. Just let her go. Danri weighs the desperate offer. After a long silence, he finally nods. Very well. Setting the girl down, he smiles. Run now, Hyein. Don't look back, little one. Trembling with fear, she flees. Chun-ho turns his gaze back. Now do your worst. Danri's blade gleams with killing intent. He strikes, aiming to sever the hero's arm. Chun-ho's foot finds a stone. His eyes blaze with a sharp, unbreakable determination. With a powerful kick, the stone flies. He catches and hurls it with bone-crushing force. Danri dodges, but his subordinate fails. The stone smashes his face in a bloody explosion. Danri grits his teeth in fury. You gave your word. How dare you betray me? Promises to monsters are meaningless. Chun-ho blurs into motion, closing the distance instantly. He slams into the enemy. The impact shatters the ground and cracks Danri's blade. Seizing the opening, he circles behind. He locks the enemy's joints in a crushing grip. A sickening crack echoes as wrists break. He gathers chi, blasting the man away. The enemy crashes at Danri's feet. Only a fool, Chun-ho scoffs, keeps faith with madmen. Danri laughs hysterically. Fine then, let us descend into this madness together. He unleashes his power, lunging. He aims a lethal strike directly at Chun-ho's heart. Chun-ho parries the blow effortlessly, but he quickly spots a deadly feint in movement. Danri vanishes, reappearing behind him. Chun-ho gasps, he's going for the child. You left your weakness wide open, Danri roars, sprinting toward the fleeing girl. Pure rage explodes from Chun-ho. He punches the earth, sending a wave of debris. He tears through the rubble. Danri is already closing in on the terrified Hyein. The girl looks back, paralyzed. Danri triggers an explosion, shrouding everything in smoke. Danri freezes in shock. Through the smoke, Chun-ho appears, shielding the child. Blood spills from the hero's lips. I knew you could block this, he whispers through pain. Danri scoffed, trembling with a mix of fear and confusion. Why didn't you use that move to stop me? Screaming with malice, Danri crushed the hero with overwhelming force. Yet, a hidden aura began to ignite. Struggle all you want, Danri hissed. Suffer the same agonizing hell that Gun endured. Little Hyeon ran for her life, her tiny frame shaking as she cast a terrified glance backward. The hero's heart screamed for her to escape, but shadow pursuers were already closing the distance. A rain of devastating kicks descended upon the hero. Danri roared, fueled by a sadistic bloodlust. This isn't over, Danri shrieked. The hero coughed up blood as the brutal impact shattered the air. Clinging to the hero's face, Danri roared into the void. Everything! I will destroy everything. It's your fault. Blame and hatred clouded the villain's eyes. Finally, the hero broke his silence with a cold gaze. Is it truly my fault? The hero whispered. Or was it your own insatiable greed that blinded you? Perhaps if you had raised your son with honor instead of malice, this tragedy wouldn't exist. Look in the mirror before you blame me. Danri's eyes turned blood red. Shut up, just die. With a violent surge, Danri slammed the hero's head into the dirt before hurling him against a wall. Silence, Danri bellowed. Behind him, the phantom of a great tiger materialized, ready to strike with full lethality. A massive shockwave leveled the ground. Danri paused, certain that the pest was finally eliminated. Suddenly, a cold shiver ran down his spine. The hero stood behind him untouched. How? Impossible. How are you still breathing? Danri gasped. What kind of forbidden martial art could deceive his senses? The earth groaned as the hero seized Danri's wrist. The hunter had become the helpless prey. An explosion of raw power erupted from the hero. One strike sent the arrogant Danri flying back. Kneeling in agony, Danri looked up. "It's not a secret technique," the hero stated coldly. "It's pure rage. The angrier I get, the stronger I become, and for that, I suppose I should thank you." "The Central Plains has no such art," Danri stammered. The hero smirked. "It doesn't belong here." "Now rot in hell." Just as the final blow descended, a voice cut through the chaos. "Stop." Danri's henchman emerged from the shadows. His blade pressed against little Huon's trembling neck. "Hands off, you bastard," the coward threatened. "Or do you want to watch this brat bleed out?" The hero's blood ran cold. Danri, seizing the moment, screamed like a madman, "Kill her, now!" "Shut your mouth," the hero roared, his aura fluctuating wildly in a desperate attempt to save her. The spear tip drew a bead of blood. Danri's face twisted in joy. "I said kill her." "No," the hero cried out. Suddenly a silver flash streaked through the air, a hidden needle. The projectile pierced the captor's hand with divine precision. Paralysis took hold of him instantly. His body convulsed as the poison took root. Huon watched in shock as the threat collapsed. Foaming at the mouth, the traitor fell dead. The hero stood frozen, stunned by the intervention. The Tang clan never forgets a debt. A mysterious figure appeared atop the rooftops, eyes sharp. "I am merely returning what was owed. Go now, I will handle the rest of these vermin." "The Tang clan," Danri shrieked in fury, but his time had finally run out. The hero showed no more mercy, slamming Danri into the earth as the battlefield turned to ruin. Amidst a sea of flames, the Tang clan master watched in silence as the sun began to set. The hero pulled Huon into a protective embrace, finally reuniting the child with her mother. "Mother," the girl cried, collapsing into the familiar warmth of her family's arms. Tears fell as they embraced, but the mother's face was pale, a sight that ignited the hero's worry. "It's just a rare illness," she whispered with a weak smile. "A shadow that won't leave me. A disease where the blood refuses to still. A curse that even the greatest healers cannot cure." "There is still time," she lied softly. The hero's voice broke. "Please, you can't die." "I'm so sorry," she breathed, her eyes reflecting a heartbreaking farewell. The hero's heart shattered. "You are my only family," he sobbed, his tears falling onto the cold ground of their reunion. As her life faded, Hyun's mother pleaded for a final promise. "Forget me," she whispered, "and find a new path. Find a kind woman to build a peaceful home with. And please, you must protect our little Hyun for me." Joho gripped her trembling hand in a heavy, suffocating silence. "I promise," he vowed, as a bittersweet smile crossed her lips. With her final strength, she called out to her daughter, "Do not cry, little one. Mother is going to see grandmother now." Hyun's desperate wails shattered the silence as she clung tight. "Please don't leave me. Take me with you, mother." The dying woman wiped a stray tear with a shaking hand. "Wait for 200 nights, and I shall return for you. Live happily with your uncle until that day comes, my love. Be a good girl," she whispered, turning her gaze back to Joho. "I have truly loved you," she confessed with her last breath. Joho looked at her with pure devotion. "I know," he replied. Then her eyes closed forever and her hand fell cold. The light of life vanished, leaving behind a hollow, haunting silence. A piercing cry of agony echoed through the darkening valley. Joho could no longer hold back the tears under the crimson sunset. His last sanctuary, the only place he could return to, was gone. The heavens themselves seemed to weep for their tragic parting. He gently closed her eyes in a final, silent farewell. Little Hyun could only scream for her mother in devastating grief. Suddenly, a sharp, powerful presence cut through the heavy sorrow. "You have no right to be here," a cold voice rang out. Joho acknowledged the Tang clan shadow lurking behind him. "This burden is not yours to carry," the stranger muttered softly. The legendary warrior bowed to the hidden master of the Tang. "I am Joho, here to see the great Tang clan leader." The master observed him with a chilling, unreadable expression. "Tell me, has the blood debt between us finally been settled?" The The Tang clan leader spoke with a voice of icy indifference. Our accounts are balanced. Do not expect any further aid from us. He knew exactly what kind of vengeance Zhou was contemplating. Yet, the warrior was not finished with his desperate request. Do you really intend to abandon this child for your revenge? Zhou's eyes burned with a dark and terrifying vengeful fury. I will hunt them down, starting with the weakest of 𝒏𝒐. One by one, I shall begin the systematic slaughter of their sect. For 3 years, I will be their living, breathing nightmare. Even if I fall, I will drag every last one to hell. My blade will claim hundreds of lives before my heart stops. 500 disciples will perish just to sate my burning rage. If luck favors me, 100 inner disciples shall die too. Little Hyun trembled as the air turned frigid with killing intent. The Tang clan leader sensed the sheer madness in his words. Seeking certain death is a fool's errand, legendary war hero. We cannot allow a benefactor to simply throw his life away. You said our debt was paid, Zhou reminded him coldly. The leader sighed, offering one final mercy to the warrior. You still hold one favor from me. Use it very wisely. Zhou seized the moment, invoking a sacred name for help. Then I ask this of you in the name of Manhwa. The master refused, yet pledged a silent watch over him. I won't let you ruin yourself. Stay put and wait here. In a flash, the shadow of the Tang clan leader vanished. Zhou watched the weeping child, his heart heavy with iron-like grief. Tears fell as he looked at the girl who lost everything. Please, let someone carry this burden. I cannot do this alone. I would move the very oceans just for a helping hand. Then, a mysterious female silhouette emerged from the thick mist. Zhou's killing intent flared like a cornered wild beast. If you are from 𝒏𝒐, draw your sword or face death. The woman smiled, her voice calm amidst the rising tension. And if I am not? Zhou turned, his gaze sharper than steel. My patience is gone, so choose your next words very carefully. The woman removed her hat, revealing a legendary, beautiful face. I come from the Valley of Shadows to offer you aid. I am Shima 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅, and I can protect the child. You are late, Zhou muttered, his voice raspy with pain. The woman laughed softly. I think my timing is quite perfect. Forgive my intrusion, but you clearly require a powerful ally. She glanced at the child, her eyes hiding a deeper scheme. Fight the 𝒏𝒐 sect with my backing, she proposed boldly. I will provide everything you need for your bloody crusade. Zhou felt the freezing cold beneath her charming, fake smile. To her, he was just a legendary weapon to be wielded. He would gladly be her sword for the chance at revenge. Can you truly keep this child safe from the world's malice? Of course, she sneered. I'll send her to a hidden scholar, a man who lives far from the blood-soaked martial world. There she will be free from the heavy debts of fate. Zhou didn't hesitate. The dark deal was struck in blood. Take me to the nearest 𝒏𝒐 outpost this very second. 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒊𝒆𝒔 was stunned by his haste. You mean right now? Zhou rose slowly, a monster awakening from a long slumber. Yes, every second they draw breath is a second too long. But Hyun grabbed his sleeve, her tears falling like rain. Uncle, please don't leave. Mother is still right here with us. Don't go, 𝒐𝒊𝒆𝒔 urged the child. The Lord has work to do. Stop stalling and move. The girl collapsed, sobbing for her mother, but Sochan stood cold. Some souls were marked for death. A mountain must fall, he whispered. 𝒐𝒊𝒆𝒔 trembled, hurrying to take the child away as he approached. One look from Sochan silenced her. He gently pulled the girl close, staring at the cold body of Hei. A fire burned in his heart. The enemies who took her, they would feel his absolute wrath. Brother, it was a mistake, 𝒐𝒊𝒆𝒔 stuttered, her soul shivering under his sudden, heavy presence. He raised a hand. She flinched, expecting death. Uncle, no, the little one cried out in terror. His hand stopped. Softening his gaze, he whispered, I won't hurt her, don't cry, little one. He patted 𝒐𝒊𝒆𝒔's shoulder. Just a small chat with this lady. Then, his smile turned lethal. Our deal, you still intend to honor it, right? 𝒐𝒊𝒆𝒔 couldn't even find her voice to answer. I was rude to a grieving woman, he mused. But our contract, that is far from over. Pay the penalty fee, he demanded. Dion HWA gripped her hat. But we never signed anything. His eyes flared with a beast's killing intent. Her arguments vanished instantly under that suffocating pressure. I'll pay, it's my principle anyway, she chirped, her survival instincts screaming at her to obey. First, handle her funeral with dignity. Dion HWA nodded, planning her escape from this monster immediately. I need to vanish, she thought, running. 36 stratagems, I can't stay near this terrifying man. If you run, I'll find you through 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅, his voice echoed, freezing her mid-step. Tears fell. She was trapped. Soon, the silver moon claimed the dark sky in a silent watch. Carrying the child, So-chan reached the old man's home. 𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒔 jumped in total shock. It is me, Ban gasped. I thought you were a ghost returned from the bloody battlefield. They drank, drowning the silence. The girl, is she the daughter of that pharmacist lady? So-chan nodded grimly, draining his cup. The weight of his hidden past felt heavier than ever. Poor child, the old man sighed, but his eyes were fixed on the broken hero before him. I was talking about you, So-chan. The warrior froze, the wine suddenly tasting like bitter ash. I have seen the ones I love die before. I should be used to the loss now. One never gets used to losing a soul, the old man countered. It's like 1,000 blades cutting. If you feel numb, it's because the pain has already shattered your very being beyond repair. Silence hung heavy. The old man sighed. So, why have you returned after all this time? I have a request. The burial is done, but the child, she needs a place of peace. The funeral was humble. No banners, no crowds, just a quiet farewell filled with sincere, heavy grief. Dion HWA whispered, It has been 5 days. Isn't this enough? Can I finally go now? Not yet, So-chan replied coldly. One more day, you still have a final purpose to serve. You're being selfish, she snapped, finally breaking. I've done everything you asked of me. He leaned in, his shadow looming. Stop joking. You tried to exploit me first, didn't you? She looked away, guilty. Only women and children came to pay respects. It's so very strange. He ignored her diversion. Where are the men? Why does no one else mourn her passing? Little Huizion's cries pierced the air. Each sob felt like a jagged dagger to his conscience. It's my fault, he realized. If I hadn't left her to face this cruel world alone. Guilt consumed him. He was a legendary hero, yet he couldn't protect his own precious kin. I am leaving, he declared. Bury her by her father's side behind the silent mountain. The old man knew. Revenge was calling. Watch out for the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒂𝒖𝒈𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 deadly blades, boy. I know, and if they come for me, I'll erase them from existence without a second thought. He looked at the stars. I have no home to return to anymore, only the path. The night was beautiful and cruel. Far away, 𝒍𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒔 arrived at the lonely temple. The rogue monk held a flickering incense stick. So, the time of reckoning has finally come. Dead, to think she fell at the hands of a mere South Border rat. Confirm it, the abbess hissed. Did a South Border intruder truly take her life? The kidnapping was no fabrication, Moon replied. The bitch clan rumors were true. The abbess's face darkened. The motive? Still a mystery, Moon whispered. She planted incense. Ignorant fool, the bitch clan belongs to the Tyrant Union. If they move against 𝒦's interests, suddenly the air turned heavy. Murderous intent surged. Are you the puppet master pulling these strings? The world spun. Moon gasped in terror as the atmosphere twisted with rage. Razor-sharp leaves sliced the air. Stop! I swear I'm innocent. Moon begged for mercy. The abbess halted, her finger hovering near his eye. A leaf brushed his face. For your sake, I hope you're telling the truth. Harm my sister, and I'll make you crave death. Moon broke into a sweat. She smiled, a mask of saintly mercy hiding a demon's heart. Leaves fell like rain. Moon shivered. Let's finish our deal. Revenge, she muttered, turning away. You promised to help her find it. Moon swallowed hard. Are you planning to break our pact now? Must we spill blood ourselves to be satisfied? She smiled sadly. Does 𝒎𝒊 have no mercy? Moon wondered, his mind racing. Should I kill him silently? He asked. The abbess looked at him coldly. We have ties to the south border. That man, he has rare talent. If he joins us, past sins can be forgotten. Moon felt insulted. Testing me, he grunted. She looked down at him with pure disdain. Why trust a weak partner? Prove your worth to 𝒎𝒊. We do not tolerate humiliation. Moon retreated, his heart pounding. Cunning old hag, he cursed, staring at the gate. She's threatening me. Fine, I'll show her what I'm capable of. He approached the house. Who's there? Jinho turned, eyes sharp. Jaewan Moon. Why's a bitch clan rat scurrying here? I brought reinforcements. Don't you want peace with 𝒎𝒊? Jinho set the girl down. Fools keep seeking death today. Go inside, Hyewon, he smiled warmly. Wait for me there. The girl ran. Moon watched her, feeling a strange, heavy chill. Jinho's aura shifted. The silent hero became a mountain-crushing monster. Speak, Moon staggered back. Touch me, and the Tyrant Union destroys you. Jinho remained unfazed. I gave you a chance, you wasted it. How do you wish to die? His power began to crack the ground. The Tyrant Union, Moon screamed. Join them and 𝒎𝒊 will back off. Thanks for the info. Goodbye. Jinho raised a lethal hand. Wait, Moon shrieked. Suddenly the door swung open. What's all this noise? A lady appeared, confused by the scene. Lady, save me, Moon cried. She signaled a cold, cutthroat gesture. Kill him now. Moon fell into despair, tears streaming down. Jinho paused, glancing at her. A strange light flickered in his eyes. He slapped Moon's shoulder and laughed. Surprised, it was just a joke. He beamed brightly, a complete 180. The lady just sighed in frustration. Throwing an arm around him like brothers, I whispered, You're too stiff. I'm just teasing, so relax. Let's drink, I commanded. Jeonwon Moon could only 𝒎𝒊 while I glanced at her coldly. As we discussed the sovereign society, my gaze turned sharp, making her flinch. I smirked inwardly. Both are watching me like prey. One of them will surely cause trouble if I'm caught. Their mutual hatred is obvious. If that's the case, I'll just manipulate both sides for myself. With a calculating smile, I dragged him along. Let's grab those drinks now, Jeonwon Moon. He stammered in confusion. Forgive me, but has Ling suddenly lost his mind? My hand tightened. My expression instantly turned demonic and dark. Want to be friends, or continue our previous dance? Terrified, Jeonwon Moon forced a desperate laugh. Ha ha, I'll drink until I drop, big brother. I gripped his neck tighter. Drink like a beast. Then I barked orders at 𝒎𝒊 for snacks. 𝒎𝒊 snapped. You're drinking with him, I countered, unless you'd rather fight at the tavern. Fear flashed in her eyes. I'll prepare it now. She turned and stormed off in a rage. I watched her leave, then faced the man. You said you had something to tell me, right? Yes, he replied. I warned. I hate liars more than assassins. One lie and you're dead. My face looked like a devil's as I towered over him. He submitted instantly while 𝒎𝒊 cooked. I pushed further. Your relationship with that woman isn't exactly friendly, is it? Tell me everything. She's from the War God Society, he confessed. She's here to obstruct or even kill me. The goals of these societies, are they just like the martial world? My voice was icy cold. Slightly different, he started. 𝒎𝒊 interrupted, slamming food down. What are you whispering about? Drink. We sat to drink. 𝒎𝒊 stared at me intensely. I sighed and turned toward the persistent woman. We're having a private conversation. Why are you here? 𝒎𝒊 grumbled, demanding to be included. Annoyed, I barked. Pour the wine first. Jeonwon Moon panicked, waving his hands in the air. My tolerance is quite low, he pleaded. I raised an eyebrow. Really? Then just go home. 𝒎𝒊 smirked at his misery. Left with no choice, Jeonwon Moon desperately downed a full glass. He gasped as if breathing fire. I got straight to the point. So, you want a deal? The Sovereign Society wants you, he said. 𝒎𝒊 chimed in. Join the War God Society instead, brother. Jeonwon Moon seethed with rage. I stood between them, smiling like a predator. Both want me. Then what can you offer? Show me your worth. Their faces instantly turned deadly serious. I can settle your grudge with the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒅 sect, I sighed. Same offer, give me more. 𝒉𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 countered. I'll handle 𝒬𝒏𝒆𝒅 completely. You won't have to lift a single finger. She's useless to me, I teased. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 bristled, calling the entire situation completely absurd and unfair. Gold was offered next. I'll match the gold and add a legendary, top-tier shop sign. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 wouldn't back down. I mused aloud. Oh, 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 is being surprisingly generous with her wealth. The bidding escalated. A sign. I'll renovate this entire place for 20 gold pieces right now. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 pulled out a divine sword and rare elixirs. The stakes were rising in this war. I'll add elixirs and a legendary blade. They tossed treasures onto the table like common junk. I sighed heavily. Enough. Everything you offer is identical. Stop this useless bickering at once. Silence fell. I lifted the jug and spoke. Let's settle this with a test of endurance. I'll go with whoever stays conscious the longest. Both challengers glared, their killing intent exploding. They agreed instantly. Hours later, I was supporting a stumbling, heavily intoxicated 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈𝒆𝒅 in my arms. My head is spinning, she giggled, wasted after 5 bottles of the strongest white spirit. 𝒉𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 had already collapsed. After tucking her in, I returned to the sleeping man. Hey, wake up. I began searching his clothes, interrogating him while his mind was completely dazed. You promised to tell the truth, didn't you? The man mumbled a hazy yes in response. What does the 𝒬𝒏𝒆𝒅 sect want from me? He stammered. They want you to join them. Join 𝒬𝒏𝒆𝒅 or die. Their pride demands your legendary strength after you crushed those monks alone. Why kidnap them? He demanded. The dark truth remained hidden from the world's prying eyes. Even 𝒬𝒏𝒆𝒅 is clueless. They just want this buried forever. What is your next move? I'll kill you myself, 𝒍𝒂𝒊𝒆𝒅 snarled. The War God Union won't let you slip away. 𝒬𝒏𝒆𝒅 won't let a monster roam free. 𝒉𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 sighed, feeling the heavy burden of fate. As I thought, he muttered, patting the boy's head. Go to sleep. Tomorrow brings change. Morning light broke. 𝒍𝒂𝒊𝒆𝒅 bolted upright, heart pounding as he scanned the silent room. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 was still snoring. Sunlight flooded the room, yet an ominous pressure hung in the air. Sensing danger, 𝒍𝒂𝒊𝒆𝒅 rushed out. He slammed the door open, desperately searching for answers. The old man turned in shock. I promised Lady 𝒍, tell me where 𝒉𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 hides. Speak or face my wrath. The old man sipped wine. Seek the Hunan Wang clan. 𝒍𝒂𝒊𝒆𝒅 turned instantly. Move out, brothers. The hunt for the legend begins right now. His men gripped their cold blades. They stood ready to ignite a war in the shadows. Time to hunt the wolf, he growled. Night fell as the moon rose over the horizon. Spirit energy swirled at the door. The old man gasped, seeing 𝒉𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅's terrifying presence. He nearly collapsed from the shock. Good heavens, are you trying to kill me with fright? Leaving already, 𝒉𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 nodded. The silent hero was ready to vanish into the night. I promised her mother. I'm leaving the bloody path of a warrior behind for good. But if anyone provokes me, they'll pay. He handed over a letter sealed with destiny. Is there a shadow sect capable of losing 𝒬𝒏𝒆𝒅's hounds? 𝒉𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 asked, eyes cold. The Hunan Wang clan. 𝒁𝒂𝒊𝒆𝒅 stared at the land deeds with trembling hands. It isn't free. Honor 𝒍𝒊𝒆𝒅's memory. Protect her grave until the end of time. The old man fell silent, clutching the papers. He looked up, his voice heavy with regret. Have you considered staying? We could rebuild the Nam Quang Academy right here together. I'd serve under you. With your power, no one in this world would dare oppose us. 𝒉𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 smiled sadly. The offer was tempting, but these mountains held too much sorrow. The memories here are too painful. Besides, I've had enough of 𝒬𝒏𝒆𝒅's constant interference. 𝒁𝒂𝒊𝒆𝒅 gasped. The 𝒬𝒏𝒆𝒅 sect, are you truly avoiding those arrogant martial priests? If we cross paths, I'll level their mountain, 𝒉𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 declared, his rage burning bright. Morning arrived as they parted. Why come out? Stay inside, the old man urged softly. Take these supplies and silver. You'll need them for the treacherous journey that lies ahead. Ji-yeon-ho worried for his friend, but the old man just laughed, hiding his sadness. The boy you sent to the Tang clan returned. He's eager to master your divine arts. Hang Ji-yeon-hwan. Ji-yeon-ho remembered the boy's fire. Should I wake the sleeping tiger? Ji-yeon-ho shook his head. Killers hunt my head. I cannot drag him into my nightmare. Tell him to find me at the Wang clan. I must leave this home behind. He hoisted the girl onto his shoulder. Will you return? The old man asked, heartbroken. Who knows? If fate wills it, we'll meet again. With that, the legend walked away. Deep in the woods, Jae-wan-mun's squad charged forward like a devastating mountain storm. He thought of the Wang clan. Their leader, Wang Fei-xiuan, was a true martial titan. One of the top 10 masters. His twin palm technique was unrivaled across the entire land. Compared to their sect leader, the Wangs were small, yet their reputation shook the heavens. Toppling 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 was impossible, but crippling them, that was a goal within his reach. If Ji-yeon-ho joins Wang Fei-xiuan, the 𝑬𝒏𝒆𝒎𝒊𝒆𝒅 sect will finally face their reckoning. He recalled Ji-yeon-ho's innocent gaze. I must stop him before he reaches the Wangs. The vice leader sneered at the warning, doubting their target's actual distance from them. He dismissed the man as a low-tier fighter with minor tricks, burdened by a child. Predicting capture within 25 miles, his arrogance was shattered by an arrow to his leg. Blood sprayed as he collapsed. A sudden, overwhelming force had bypassed his elite martial senses. The group scrambled for cover as a second devastating shockwave struck their position instantly. Clutching his mangled limb, the leader claimed it was minor, but Gwan-mun felt terror. A first-rate master failed to detect a simple arrow. This was the work of a monster. He activated his ultimate detection skill, wondering if the distance masked that suffocating killing intent. Panic rose as the vice leader admitted the enemy was too far to even sense properly. He scanned the horizon, desperately searching for any sliver of aura within 100 steps. 100, 200. At 300 steps, the terrifying silhouette of the hero appeared. 300 steps. Impossible. Our hero stood tall, smiling calmly at their pathetic, frantic struggle. He notched another soul-reaping arrow, sending it whistling through the air with lethal precision. A subordinate barely deflected the strike, finally pinpointing the direction of their unseen executioner. 300 steps north, defensive formation. They prepared for a desperate, long-range slaughter. The assassins charged like shadows, while our hero unleashed a relentless storm of heavenly steel. Suddenly, he swapped his lethal tips for a cloth bag, firing it high into the air. The projectile streaked like white lightning. The assassins flinched, but the shot seemed to miss. They laughed at the perceived failure. What a pathetic archer, they mocked, feeling suddenly superior. But the arrow struck a massive beehive, sending the swarm crashing directly onto the fools. Stinging shadows engulfed the squad. The forest echoed with the screams of the terrified assassins. His tactical genius was absolute. They had walked right into a living nightmare of his making. Gwan-mun froze in realization. This was never a chase. It was a calculated, one-sided hunt. All day, he wasn't fleeing. He was patiently waiting for them to enter his kill zone. Our hero appeared on the ridge, sword on shoulder, looking like a god of war returning. They were never the predators. They were merely cattle caught in a legendary hero's trap. He remembered the peaceful souls of the South, people far too kind for this bloody world. He knew he could end their lives in 10 seconds. Such was his godlike power. The enemy leader looked up, sensing a killing intent far too vast for a mere youth. Facing that crushing aura, Gwan-mun trembled as our hero spoke with a chilling, calm authority. Since you returned, I will grant you mercy. You actually exceeded my expectations, little one. I never break my word, he said, drawing his massive blade with a majestic, fluid motion. The meteor sword master stood firm, commanding his pupil to face death with manly honor. He unleashed his full martial aura, preparing to challenge the monster standing before them now. The meteor sword, I remember that style. It is a relic of a bygone era, right? The veteran claimed his lineage, but our hero simply asked him to step aside peacefully. There is no grudge between us, he noted, but the proud veteran refused to retreat. You shed my blood, he roared. My level is enough to take your arrogant life. You dare look down on me. The veteran's rage boiled at the hero's casual, dismissive warning. I am no coward who flees from threats, he screamed, ignoring the chance to survive. Our hero sighed. These martial artists and their pride were always so incredibly troublesome. The atmosphere grew heavy as both warriors prepared to unleash their ultimate, world-shaking techniques. Wait, our hero paused. Can I ask one thing before we settle this in blood? Do you have a powerful master backing you? The veteran felt more insulted than ever. You arrogant brat, how dare you spit on my pride? He charged forward with fury. Whatever. The leader lost all sanity, his eyes clouding with murderous rage. You bastard, I'll end your life in a single strike. Seeing the danger, 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 shouted a warning about his fist techniques. The leader hesitated for a brief second. His blade is just a decoy. I saw him only use it to parry against the monks. I sighed at their ignorance. The meteor swordsman smirked. Is that so? Then this is your lucky day. Witness my ultimate art, the meteor sword. Long ago, a grandmaster watched a falling star and forged this style. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 recalled the legends. It held the devastating power of a star streaking through the heavens. Very few masters in the entire martial world could withstand its destructive force, no matter how strong the enemy. There was nothing the meteor sword couldn't cleave in two. With a roar, he unleashed his blade toward me. If you can survive this one hit, you win, he screamed, confident in his victory. But before he could even finish his swing, my blade had already carved through his defense with cold precision. I spun my sword casually. Why on earth would I agree to your terms? He stared in shock, his life fading. He said I was a killer, not just a martial artist. Why carry a sword if not to use it? He collapsed, clutching his gut, glaring at the useless 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅. The boy trembled in terror. I was slightly mistaken, he cried. The leader's eyes turned blood-red with fury. If you don't know, shut your mouth. He hit the ground hard. I turned my gaze toward 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅. I truly underestimated you. I thought you were just a useless scholar. I tapped my blade against my palm. But you didn't just bring weapons. Seeing how you lead those assassins, you're a hidden expert yourself, aren't you? He froze in fear. Instead of risking trouble later, I should probably just erase you now. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 fell to his knees, scurrying back in terror. The sharp glint of my blade reflected in his eyes. Big brother, please, don't kill me just for a grudge. Suddenly, my hand slammed into the rock behind him. The stone shattered, leaving a deep crater. You're lucky, I whispered. I gave him a cold smile. Since you warned me about the pursuers last night, I was prepared. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 realized he'd leaked the secret while drunk. I'll give you one last chance. Your next words decide if you live or die. He swallowed hard, sweat dripping down his face. Don't you want to know how to keep tricking those guys? I smirked. Exactly, bookworm. But first, strip. His eyes went wide with horror. He imagined something terrible. I slapped him. What are you thinking? Just the cloak. He handed it over, confused. Meanwhile, the assassins, swollen from bee stings, finally escaped the swarm. They gasped as they found the meteor swordsman dead on the ground. Panic erupted. The leader has been slain. Look, the young lord left a trail. They saw a piece of his cloak snagged on a branch. He's smarter than we thought, they charged off. Silence returned to the clearing. Are they gone yet? A voice whispered from the brush. I stepped out with a smile, my blade still at 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 throat. They went the wrong way. The assassins realized the trail had gone cold. Suddenly, a figure in crimson armor blocked their path. Who are you? A martial master. Those glowing eyes were like blood. Are you the one who took our lord? The silent figure didn't answer, unleashing a devastating storm of spiritual energy. I'll keep my word and take you to the capital, I told him. I'll release you before we reach the palace. I smiled. Your cooperation saved me from wiping out your entire sect. Jae-wan-moon broke into a cold sweat. Suddenly, we reached a hidden entrance. This was my secret hideout as a child. My father built this for me. I have a few maps and secrets hidden deep inside. I pushed aside the thick vines. Inside, the air was cool and quiet. We found the young girl there. She was resting peacefully amongst the traveling supplies. She's still in a deep slumber, Jae-wan-moon noted. Everything was finally back in our control. Suddenly, he pointed toward her, firing a burst of energy into her pressure points. Ji-won-mun watched, stunned. Brother, did you just seal her consciousness? He remained silent, then gave a faint smile. I did it so she wouldn't witness the cruelty of cold steel. Or would you rather she saw the carnage? Ji-won-mun trembled. Never, you made the right choice, brother. He then wore a gentle mask. Are you awake, little one? She whispered softly. Yes, I didn't make a single sound. He lifted the child into his arms with a grin. Then let's depart. The other two stood there, completely speechless. Unexpectedly, the girl looked up. Mister, he tilted his head. She insisted on walking by herself, causing his expression to darken. But the road is long. Your feet will ache. She shook her head and hopped down, determined to lead the way. He watched her back, a gloomy shadow crossing his heart. By nightfall, they had gathered around a flickering campfire. Hey, you fool, I think. She is intentionally keeping her distance from me. What do you think? Ji-won-mun let out a sigh. To be honest, she has been avoiding you since we started. It's quite strange. She's polite to a haunting degree. She won't even accept help with her meals. It's like she's a stranger. Maybe she doesn't feel safe around you. Even I find you terrifying. I know how painful that feels for a child. He frowned, confused. Is it really that extreme? Ji-won-mun explained that her master had raised her with strict discipline. She was taught to always repay those who show her kindness. Perhaps your help feels like an unbearable burden to her. He fell into deep thought. It made sense. That was the reason for the invisible wall between them. The next morning, they continued their journey. He called her over and pointed toward a high tree branch. Could you pick some fruit for us? Ji-won-mun played along. He smiled inwardly, hoping this would ease her heart. He believed that if she felt useful, she wouldn't see his protection as a heavy debt. Ji-won-mun nodded silently. It will work. She just wants to do something for her big brother eventually, Ji-won-mun whispered. The girl stared at the fruit high above, then reached up with her tiny hands. The two men cheered. Incredible! He lifted her high so she could reach, praising her as she handed the fruit to Ji-won-mun. You have a natural talent for this. He kept encouraging her, telling her to pick just a few more. The girl looked confused. More? Yes, we need enough for 3 people to eat, he replied casually. Ji-won-mun noted the fruit was perfect. Suddenly, his face turned pale with horror. Brother, we have to stop. He didn't notice the danger. Why? She's doing so well. Then he saw it. The fruit was stained with blood. There is blood on the fruit. He panicked and immediately set the girl down on the grass. Her small hands were shredded by sharp thorns. You should have told me it hurt, he cried out. She looked down, her voice small. I am sorry. He turned away, cursing his own lack of sensitivity. Ji-won-mun rushed to bandage her wounds. Why did you stay silent? She gave a heartbreaking reply. Because you didn't tell me I was allowed to stop. Ji-won-mun realized the weight of her words. She thought you sent her into the thorns because you were afraid of the pain yourself, Ji-won-mun explained. Stunned, he grabbed the thorny branch with his bare hand and crushed it. Look at me, little one. Thorns cannot pierce my skin. I didn't send you there to protect myself. I just wanted us to be close. The girl was bewildered. But why? He sighed. I thought this would make you like me more. She lowered her head further. But we are close. Mother told me I must stay by your side. Her voice trembled with raw emotion. He stood there, completely lost for words. Later, they sat by the fire. He turned to his companion. Do you have wine? 5 bottles. I'll join your guild for just half a bottle. Ji-won-mun nearly wept. I don't drink. I just missed the chance of 1,000 years. He sighed deeply. She just lost her mother and is traveling with a stranger. She must be so confused. If only 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 were here, things would be easier. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 asked why he mentioned her. Because, he muttered, she is far better at handling children than a battlefield monster like me. I didn't touch the wine. He felt a sharp pang of regret. A rare chance was lost. Then 𝒌 spoke again. I understand her grief. She just lost her mother. Now she's dragged from her home to face a world of strangers. She must be drowning in confusion. He let out a sigh. If Sha were here, things would certainly be much different. Why her? 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 demanded. He countered calmly, because she has the talent to negotiate with children that we clearly lack. Who else but us? 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 countered. She's just as much of a workaholic as I am. So she wouldn't even notice. Suddenly, his instincts flared. He felt a chilling presence lurking nearby. Since we're on the subject, tell me, who are you? I've seen many warriors, but never anyone like you. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 replied, we are the military enforcers, if you compare us to the standard army ranks. We are the commanders and great generals, but instead of soldiers, we govern the martial world's sex. He described the bloody truth between him and Shima, polite masks in public, but a hidden war behind closed doors. The hero found them peculiar. I've never met your kind, he remarked, before telling 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 to sleep. As the morning sun crested the horizon, 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 announced, we've arrived, big brother. This is it. Before them lay Hunan, a majestic ancient city. The air hummed with the weight of its long history. As promised, will you let me go now? The hero nodded. I keep my word, you are free. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 bowed deeply. I owe you my life. I hope one day we serve under the same flag. That won't happen, the hero replied bluntly. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 then turned to the little girl with a soft smile. Little one, your uncle is terrifying and rude, but he's a good man. He will protect you well. He only unleashes his rage against those who harm your mother. You can trust him, okay? The girl nodded obediently. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 pulled out a gift. And this is a special reward for you. He handed her a fine set of ink. Use this for your studies. The girl's eyes sparkled with joy. She looked at the hero for permission. He smiled. If you say thank you, you can have it. She bowed low in gratitude. However, the hero felt a pang of jealousy that she called him uncle. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 chuckled. She's just confused about how to act around you. You must guide her, brother. Start by building a real bond. Perhaps taking her as your official disciple would be a good start. The hero sighed. Where's all this sudden wisdom coming from? 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 just laughed in response. After a warm farewell, they parted ways. The little girl watched 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈's retreating figure with lingering sadness. When will I see Brother 𝒍𝒂 again? She asked softly. The hero's expression grew serious and dark. I wanted to show him my beautiful handwriting. The hero remained silent, remembering the shadows from last night. He recalled two figures, a man and a woman, tracking them. The peace was about to be shattered. That won't happen, he told her firmly. We are traveling far from here. Our paths have diverged. Sensing his cold mood, the girl's heart sank. So, I can never see him again. Probably not. He no longer belongs in our world. The girl slumped, her spirit crushed by the truth. But I really wanted to show him. Meanwhile, 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 continued his journey, feeling strangely lighthearted. He mused that the hero was blunt, but noble. This trip had felt more like a needed vacation. Suddenly, he stopped. The road between Hunan and 𝒍𝒂𝒃 was eerily empty. A deathly silence filled the air. A shadow flickered behind him. A vacation, you say? 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 collapsed in absolute, paralyzing terror. It was the monster who had slaughtered his subordinates. What? What happened to you, brother? I had some family business to settle, the figure growled. But then, 𝒍𝒂𝒃 intercepted my path. 𝒍𝒂𝒃 appeared with a chilling grin. Long time no see, young master. 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈's blood ran cold. How is this possible? 𝒍𝒂𝒃 laughed. Is it strange for the martial god and evil sex to hunt? Are you nervous because we shared a drink? 𝒍𝒂𝒖𝒈 realized he was trapped between two unstoppable titans. If these two fought in broad daylight, the entire region would be reduced to a mountain of corpses. These monsters killed without a second thought. 𝒐𝒏 grit his teeth, realizing his life hung by a thread. I thought he was in Sashin, Sima giggled. That is why I had to kill him first. Why do you cower like a pathetic fool? 𝒐𝒏 looked at the giant warrior standing nearby. My scouts, you killed them all, didn't you? The man nodded. Every single one in that forest. 𝒐𝒏 trembled. Did the hero know this would happen? Was that why he released him so early? It hit him. The hero hadn't just let him go. He had saved him from the coming massacre. But the enemy's sword was already drawn. Do you have any last words before you meet death? Any final words before you die? I'll pass them on. He sighed deeply. Last words, huh? How poetic. Very well, tell Jianho this. I still believe in the promises he made. He remained eerily calm. Sima barked a cold order. Enough talk, kill him now. The air grew heavy with an aura of death. A blade swung toward 𝒍𝒂𝒐𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅, but suddenly, a familiar arrow whistled through the air like lightning. The assassin sliced the arrow in two. Who dares? He roared. Who dares interfere with the Sega clan? From the distant horizon, a silhouette emerged. A legendary presence began to overwhelm everyone on the battlefield. It was Jianho himself. I've come to collect a debt, he declared, aiming his bow with lethal grace. 𝒍𝒂𝒐𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒅 smiled, knowing his faith wasn't misplaced. On the other side, Sima's face twisted in pure frustration. The man in red burst into manic laughter. Did I hear that right? Jianho, the actual dragon is here. He turned to Sima, eyes gleaming. Why didn't you tell me? Why hide that Jianho was our pursuer? He was trembling with bloodlust. Finally, a chance to kill the man who stole my title and my glory. Two monsters now stood face to face, ready to shatter the heavens. The ultimate clash begins right now. That is the end of today's chapter. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.